Attention Commanders Nation. While the league takes a break, our organization is grinding on a secret project that could shape the next 10 years. Our franchise QB is heading to the sideline, but what's coming next is huge. And right now, who's going to protect the backup against that savage defensive line? Because the backup our rival tossed aside is now out for revenge with inside info. 3 explosive stories nobody else is talking about. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and check the pinned playlist in the first comment to avoid mistakes and enjoy the ride. News 1. Jaden Daniels' future hangs in the balance after years of watching this team ruin promising quarterbacks. And I'm telling you this straight from the heart. What's happening with Jaden Daniels right now is the biggest decision this franchise has made in over a decade. Daniels is sidelined for the rest of the 2025 season. Because here's what national media won't say, what ESPN won't touch, because they're too busy hyping the Cowboys and Eagles. Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury are cooking up a massive plan to fundamentally reshape how our franchise QB plays the game. I think it's genius. Daniels has flashed insane athleticism, extended plays with his legs like we haven't seen since ARG3's glory days, and proved he is the future this city's been starving for. He dodges pressure like he's got eyes in the back of his head, turns busted plays into first downs, gives us something we haven't seen in the DMV since that magical 2012 run. But here's the nightmare. Remember what happened to Griffin? Remember how this dysfunctional franchise let him play hurt in the playoffs against Seattle? His career was never the same. I'm telling you right now, we cannot make that mistake again. This city won't survive watching another generational QB get wrecked by bad decisions. This season's injuries made it crystal clear. Daniel's body is in constant danger playing the way he does. The elbow injury that sidelined him for weeks, the hits he's taken outside the pocket, the times he's gone up slow after a shot, his natural game without putting himself at risk every single Sunday. 15 years. This conversation didn't start last week. According to Dan Quinn's latest press conference, this has been in motion for weeks since the injury. Quinn literally said, ever since the elbow injury, one of his projects, even when we were in Spain for that international game, was figuring out how to use his legs and out-of-pocket skills while still protecting the team and himself. Do you realize how big that is? And I ask you this, how many franchises in this league are doing that? They make him dangerous, unpredictable. Defenses don't know if he's going to throw, run, or pull off some physics-defying magic. But the deeper he gets into the NFL, the more film defenses have on him, the more critical it becomes for him to protect himself. That means learning WHEN to extend the play and WEN to live to fight another down. For a franchise with a mobile elite QB, this is a delicate balancing act that can define decades of success or failure. Kingsbury can't just tell him to stop running. That's like telling an eagle not to fly. The focus has to be on smart decision-making. When to throw it away instead of forcing a pass, when to escape, and when to just move on to the next play. Look at what Buffalo did with Josh Allen. His first 2 years, he ran like a linebacker, took brutal hits every week. So they worked with him in the offseason to shift his mindset, teach him to protect himself, and now look at him. MVP candidate every year, leading his team to the playoffs, still using his legs, but way smarter. The Commanders are all in on the future, designing schemes to keep Daniels on the field for the next decade. Because the biggest question isn't how good he is when healthy. We've seen that. The question is how long he can stay healthy, how many full seasons he can give us, how many playoff runs he can lead. And I'm telling you with everything I've got, with the passion of someone who suffered with this team for decades. If we protect Daniels the right way, if we find that perfect balance between his natural creativity and physical safety, if we give him the tools and system to make better decisions, we're looking at the quarterback who'll take us to multiple Super Bowls in the coming years. But if we screw this up, if we repeat the RG3 mistakes, if we let ego or pressure to win now mess with his future, we'll be crying another what could have been in 5 years when Daniels is playing somewhere else or battling chronic injuries. The Cowboys let Dak Prescott run wild early on, took unnecessary hits, The Ravens have been masters at this with Lamar Jackson, building an entire system around keeping him healthy while letting him be himself. We've got the chance to get it right from the start. Adam Peters came from San Francisco. He saw how the Niners handled mobile QBs. Dan Quinn came from Dallas. He saw the mistakes with Prescott. Kingsbury worked with Kyler Murray and learned valuable lessons. This staff has the collective knowledge to nail this. So, what do you think? Should Daniels run way less next season? Should we design more controlled rollouts instead of letting him improvise so much? Buckle up, because what's coming next is absolutely devastating for our short-term hopes against our most hated divisional rivals. Washington has officially ruled out Laramie Tunsil for the critical Week 16 showdown against the Philadelphia Eagles. Dan Quinn confirmed it in Tuesday's press conference. Tunsil is dealing with an oblique injury he picked up during the Week 15 game. And I'm telling you this with zero exaggeration. The timing of this injury could not be worse. Quinn was hopeful on Monday, saying Tunsil would play if he could, which gave us a little hope. But by Tuesday, he missed practice entirely. Not even limited or individual drills. Let's look at the big picture. We're 4-10, officially out of the playoff race for 2 weeks now, with zero mathematical shot at the postseason. If we were still in the playoff hunt, if every game was do or die, maybe Tunsil would have suited up with a cortisone shot and some heavy tape. But he'd need at least one full practice, at least 1 day of unrestricted work to prove he can protect effectively and not aggravate the injury. Washington will keep monitoring his oblique over the next week or two before deciding if and when he'll return for the final games of this lost season. Even though this season has been a disaster overall for the Commanders, with that brutal 4-10 record nobody saw coming after all the training camp hype, Tunsil has been a MAJOR bright spot in any offensive success we've had, earning an impressive 84.7 grade from Pro Football Focus, ranking 7th out of 82 qualified tackles across the league. But here's the real kicker. His pass blocking grade of 88.9 ranked 3rd among those same 82 tackles. Do you realize what that means in context? Tunsil has been one of the best left tackles in the entire National Football League this season, protecting our quarterback's blind side at an elite level. And now we don't have him right when we're facing one of the most ferocious, dominant, disruptive defensive lines in the NFL in the Philadelphia Eagles. Think about what's coming for Marcus Mariota on Saturday. Hassan Reddick is having another double-digit sack season, one of the most explosive edge rushers in the league. Josh Sweat is a speed demon who lives in the backfield. Fletcher Cox, even as a vet, is still a dominant force inside. Jalen Carter, the rookie, has been an absolute revelation. This Eagles D-line is brutal, relentless, unforgiving. Tunsil is under contract through the 2026 season before hitting unrestricted free agency in 2027. I say yes, no hesitation. Because finding a true elite left tackle in this league is like striking gold. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's the foundation of any successful offense. While the Eagles are throwing millions at Lane Johnson to keep their O-line intact, we've got a golden opportunity to secure our own line for the next 5 or 6 years with a smart extension right now. But here's the real nightmare that's keeping me up at night heading into Saturday. Without Tunsil protecting the blind side, who the hell is going to protect Marcus Mariota from that Eagles D-line? Are we shifting someone from the right side? Promoting a practice squad guy? Rolling with a backup who's barely played any snaps this season? That Philly D-line is a quarterback's worst nightmare. They lead the league in pressure rate, top 5 in sacks, and they make life hell for QBs every single week. Reddick, Sweat, Cox, these dudes live in the backfield. They force bad throws, cause turnovers, create chaos. The Giants thought they could survive without a legit left tackle last year, and look what happened. Taking sacks at a historic rate, and eventually got hurt because he had no protection. We must not make that same catastrophic mistake. Look at what happened to the Bengals when they lost Jonah Williams. Joe Burrow, one of the most talented QBs in the league, was suddenly under constant pressure. His timing was off, his confidence shaken, and the whole offense fell apart. The left tackle position isn't just important, it's essential to modern offensive success. Should we extend Tunsil this offseason before he hits free agency? Or go younger and cheaper in the 2026 draft? Maybe with a first-round pick? Can we really trust a rookie to protect Jaden Daniels when he returns? The decision Adam Peters makes here could literally shape our offensive line and our offensive future for the next decade. Here comes the story packed with that sweet revenge flavor we all love in sports. The Eagles could clinch the NFC East title with a win on our turf in the nation's capital, celebrating on OUR Field. But the Commanders are looking to crash the party, make them sweat, and play spoiler. The same team that had him on the roster just 2 seasons ago. Yeah, I mean, it's a great defense. No doubt. You can literally talk about every single guy on that front, and in the secondary, they're elite players. I'm genuinely looking forward to it. It's always a great atmosphere when you play your old team, Mariota said with a smile. And you know what? I think Mariota's being way too diplomatic, too nice, too politically correct with those public comments. Because let's be real, in 2023, Mariota was Jalen Hurts' backup in Philly, riding the bench week after week, with no real shot to show what he could still do. I genuinely love the opportunity to play football. It's been fun to get out there and compete. And whatever the situation is, like we've talked about before, you can't really replicate the experience of playing in the NFL, the speed, the intensity. I love it. I love being out there competing and just enjoying it while I can, Mariota added. Clearly fired up. This is the first time the Commanders faced the Eagles since that brutal NFC Championship loss last January, the game where our Super Bowl dreams went up in smoke. Now we've got a shot at revenge, even if it's just symbolic, in a game that might not mean much for us, but means everything for them. Washington should be playing with a massive chip on its shoulder, with extra motivation to go for back-to-back wins after last week's victory. So let me ask you straight up, no filters. Can Marcus Mariota actually beat the team that gave up on him? Or is this just a farewell game before Jaden Daniels returns as the undisputed starter next season? I'm telling you this with full conviction. Never underestimate Marcus Mariota when he's got extra motivation. And playing against your old team, the one that kept you on the bench and never gave you a real shot, that lights a fire inside you that nothing else can. The Eagles think this is a schedule freebie, that they can rest starters, that the division title is basically locked up with their dominant record. But those of us who lived in the DMV our whole lives know nothing is easy in the NFC East. Every divisional game is a war. Records don't matter. Playoff status doesn't matter. Remember when the Eagles came to FedEx Field a few seasons ago with a perfect record, thinking they'd win by 30, and we gave them the fight of their lives? Remember when we beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, when nobody gave us a shot? That's who we are, as a team, as a franchise, as a fan base. We never quit. We always fight until the final second, no matter the record, no matter the odds. Mariota's got tons of experience in this league. He started over 70 games, won playoff matchups, beaten elite teams. He knows the Eagles' defensive schemes. He was in that locker room all of 2023, studied the playbook, knows their tendencies, their weaknesses, their adjustments. That insider knowledge is priceless. Kickoff between the Eagles and Commanders is set for Saturday at 5 p.m. in prime time. And I'll be right there, yelling from my home in the DMV, backing OUR team with every fiber of my being, because that's what real fans do in this city. Doesn't matter what the record says, doesn't matter if we're out of the playoffs, we always ride for the burgundy and gold. So, what do you honestly think? Can Mariota pull off the biggest upset of the year and take down the Eagles? Or are they just too strong, too deep, too locked in to be stopped? What exactly does Mariota need to do to succeed against that brutal defense? Drop everything in the comments. I need to know if Commanders Nation believes in the upset. Commanders Nation, these 3 stories show us exactly where we stand as a franchise at this crucial moment. We're protecting our long-term future with Jaden Daniels, making tough but smart calls with Laramie Tunsil, and fighting with pride to the final whistle with Marcus Mariota. Do you think Dan Quinn and Adam Peters are making the right moves to build a contender? Should we lock in Tunsil long-term or go young in the draft? Can Mariota really take down the Eagles and ruin their celebration? Drop everything in the comments. This is a real family, and your voice matters in this community. If you like this video, if you learned something new about the team, if you feel the same burgundy and gold passion I feel every day, subscribe to this channel right now. Smash like so YouTube shows this to more fans. And share it with every Commanders fan you know in the DMV. We're building the biggest and most passionate Washington community on all of YouTube. Don't forget to check the playlist pinned in the first comment to avoid mistakes and enjoy the ride. Because this is more than a YouTube channel. This is a family united by burgundy and gold. And remember, hail to the Redskins!